will you lead generate for listings, working smarter, not harder, if the market were to continue this way for the next 3 to 5 years? Who would you need to become? What would you do differently in order to work smarter, not harder, leveraging listings? And the reason that I believe that this book is so awesome is because it takes us back to some really good fundamentals of how to build a business that works for you. So raise your hand if the first thing that you just love to do when you get up in the morning is start making cold calls for listings. Raise your hand. I want to see. I mean, this is just like your thing. You're like so excited. You're like, woohoo, I'm going to make some cold calls today, right? Now, imagine this. Imagine a world where you come into your home office or your office or whatever it is in the mornings, and you already have an email, you have a Facebook message, and maybe you have one voicemail of people that have called you because they've heard how amazing you are and they need your help. Which appeals to you more, the first scenario or the second scenario? Hold up your fingers and tell me. Right? Number 2. So this book is been out for many, many, many years. And if you read the first chapter, I hope that you've already been inspired. If you haven't read the first chapter, now this book is not out on Audible, but it's a quick read. It's like 164 pages, right? It's a quick read and it's a fable. It's a story. But what it's about is it's about creating raving fans. So let me ask you, how many listings do you really need a month to have an amazing business? It's not a trick question. Okay, Nico says his number is 6. Zach Fisher says his number is 4. Diane Vila, 4. Zach, 5. Sorry. Who else? Anybody else? Whatever your number is, it's right because it's your number. Whatever your number is, it's right because it's your number. And yet we know that 2 listings a month will give us how many buyers? At least 2, probably 4, right? So if you simply just focused on 2 listings a month, properly marketed, is it possible for you to have upwards of a $250,000 or more GCI a year? That everybody should be nodding their head yes. Okay, it's 2 listings a month. And yet we are still scrambling for 1 listing every 6 weeks, right? And so you say to yourself, well, Becky, inventory's hard and there's not a lot out there, blah, 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 blah. True, it's all true. And yet we're closing more business than ever, right, Deanna? Right, Deanna? How many files did you close last month at KW Naples?
Last month, quite a few actually. Let me just check my multi-year trends.
200, right? Like, I think it was like around 200.
93 to be exact.
93. This month, we're going to be probably north of 200, right?
We're going to be close to 200 again, yeah.
200. It's record months. Record months. Congratulations, real estate agents. Record months, right? Winning. That's why Dean gave the double thumbs up. But listings are down 52%. Somebody's getting listings. Somebody's getting listings. And so you say to yourself, okay, well, who's doing it? So the interesting thing is I spend a lot of time looking at the numbers of real estate for real estate agents outside of our company. Outside of our company. And I can tell you the real estate agents that are getting the listings. And then I go on and I look at their social media and I look at different things that they're doing. And I would imagine that many of them have a really, really, really large database. I'm so excited to tell you, Carlo and Nina Lorca that I coach, they're not on this call. They have 10 listings that they've gotten, some of them already signed, and they've got a few more coming. They are database. They are so focused on surprising and delighting their database. Surprising and delighting their database, right? They don't even have a system around it, but they're so good at it, right? And so people just show up because they're getting referred. So what Ken Blanchard's talking about with Raving Fans is if you had 20 raving fans that gave you 2 pieces of business that closed every single year, how many pieces of business would you close every single year? It's easy math. What is it? Somebody tell me. 20 raving fans that gave you 2 pieces of business that closed every year. What's that? 40. 40 pieces of business. All right, so here's what I'd like for you to do. Take out your calculators. Everybody, show me your phone. Show me your phone with your calculator up. Yeah, or just a regular calculator like Nico's old school. Love it. All right, and here's what I want you to do. I want you to take your average commission amount. So let's take your average commission amount. Whatever it is, I don't care what it is, whatever it is, your average commission amount. All right, let's say it's 10,000. I don't know, I'm doing easy math, but you do yours. What's your average commission? And then I want you to take that and I want you to multiply that times 40. Okay, now does that number surprise and delight you? Does that number surprise and delight you? Yeah? Okay, so what kind of epic what kind of epic experience would you want to provide to your clients and customers in order for 20 of them to refer you 2 pieces of business a year, not because they feel obligated, but because they are so incredibly inspired by you and what you do for them that they remember you all the time and they in their heart want to help you be successful, right? And that's exactly what Brady Sandall, our VP of growth for Keller Williams Luxury, was talking about last week. Is he said, guys, we are in the business of surprising and delighting people. He says, ladies and gentlemen. He doesn't say guys like I do. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in the business of surprising and delighting people. And the reason for that is because those raving fans will give you all of your business. Now, I'm not saying that you have to do your business this way. This is another way of doing business. And yet, in a world where we may be moving forward very quickly into, Nico said something that the other day that was absolutely amazing. Nico said, Becky, I don't believe the market's going to retract. What did you say, Nico?
Yeah, good morning. I said that we've been so undervalued, especially Collier County. You used to be able to get a single family home in Golden Gate Estates with no less than, acre and a quarter for like 280, right? Newer home. So that was unheard of. It's been unheard of. And, we've been having that for a long time. So my take on this is moving forward, there will be a change. There have to be some kind of balance, equilibrium, if you would, in the near future when the craziness will stop. I believe that everything that is happening now is going to maintain the prices moving forward. So there will not be such a thing as, oh, the prices will go back or they're going to start coming down once the craziness stops. Actually, I think that will be the new benchmark of our new prices moving forward. So as market will slow down, interest rates may go up, but prices will remain the same. They may go down a little bit, but you will no longer will have single family homes in any neighborhood less than 400. That's my opinion. So it's our new, price point.
So the cool thing about what Nico's saying is, and what we were talking about at our ALC meeting the other day, and our Agent Leadership Council, and Keller Williams is our board of directors for Keller Williams Naples. And one of the things those top agents were saying, Michelle Combs said, is she said, to get back to 6 months of balanced inventory, will take a very long, long time. So what are you going to do in the meantime to rise above and stand out from the other 12,000 agents that are in your marketplace? What are you going to do to rise up and stand out? And so that's what this is about. So let's kind of jump into the book now, because it's 8:47, and I just wanted to set up why we're really focusing on this book. This is another way for you, if you so choose to build raving fans and lead generate in your business and grow your business. So on page, here we go. We're going to go to page 7, which I love, and I've got this online, so I'm bouncing through my pages here. On my book, it's page 7. One of the things that he says at the bottom is he's in this area where there's rotten service, and he says, rotten service around here, around there, around everywhere, service stinks. Nobody gives a hoot. Rude is in, smiling's a sin. Nowhere is it worse than at your company. So with what we've been going through in the last couple of months with our market being so crazy, how many of you sometimes feel like rude is in? Raise your hand if you feel like rude is in, right? Rude is in when we're working with other agents and working with people and different things like that. And so we can kind of get into that mindset. So one of the things that he starts talking about in this book is he starts talking about the three items for superior to create raving fans. And the first one is to decide what you want. And I want to talk about this for just a second. And deciding what you want it starts on page 22, but I'm actually really going to be talking about page 43 through 48. And I'll tell you why. How many of you have taken the time to sit back and really write down your perspective and vision on the service and the kind of company you want to build and who you want to be known for and how you want to be thought of? This is called our brand, right? So if you think about it and you say, okay, with customers, how do I want my customers to feel about me, and how do I want to reward them just by answering the phone or being in business with me? And so one of the first things that he is told to do in this book, this guy who's an area manager, he doesn't have a name, his name's area manager. He said for him to go and actually sit down and understand what his vision is for his business. So create a vision, write this down. Create a vision of perfection centered on the customer. Create a vision of perfection centered on the customer. So think about it. For those of you that have been in business for a long time, if you were to go through and you were to pick out your top 20 clients that answer the phone every time you call, past clients maybe, answer the phone every time you call, they're a fan of yours, they love hearing from you, maybe they've given you a referral or they've used you more than once. Could you sit down, if I were to say right now, tell me your top 20, write their names down. How many of you in 90 seconds or less could write down the first names of every single one of them? Raise your hand. Okay, Zach said he could. I couldn't. I can tell you that. I couldn't. So the first thing might be that if you're going to create a business and a process in your business to surprise and delight your top 20 clients and create raving fans out of them so that they give you 2 deals every single year for 40 deals a year, it might be to know who those 20 are. So if you were to create a system around that and actually a vision of perfection centered on the customer. So here's your customer, here's your top 20. What is it that you're going to do to create a raving fan around them? And here's what he says on, I love this, on page 48, he says, he knew he had to create raving fans. Satisfied customers just weren't good enough. Remember last week we talked about giftology? He'd rather have 10 raving fans than 100 satisfied customers. Because 100 satisfied customers say, oh, thank you, Jennifer. You actually met my expectations and you were better than the other guy. But a raving fan means that you provided them an unforgettable experience, and you've continued that experience not only before the sale, but after the sale. So he said, what he did is that he took some time to go away and really design and think about what does that experience look like for your client? And then how are you creating that and putting that out there in your social media, your marketing, and everything else of who you are for your clients? So let me give you an example. Let's say, for example, you decide, okay, I want listings. I want to work smarter, not harder. And so I'm going to be the listing agent of choice. How am I going to show up for the sellers that I've sold homes to or sold homes for so that they are my raving fans? And I'm going to write down 20 of those names and I'm going to go after those folks now. Let's say you're newer in the business and you don't have those folks. Then who do you know in the world that know you, like you, and love you that would be a raving fan for you? And create an experience for them. Terry, you took yourself off mute. Did you want to say something? No? Okay. So one of the things that I said last week is what if in the rapport building process of working with your client, you ask them what it would mean for them to have this new home, either on the beach in Naples or in this penthouse or in the mountains of Vermont or in the mountains of California or up in Sioux Falls. You know, I don't know what's in Sioux Falls, but there's something amazing there, I'm sure. And you write that quote down, and that's the quote you put on their Cutco knife or their custom candle or whatever it is that you give to them that they have in the heart of their home that they remember you all the time. First of all, how good does that make you feel? And then how does that make them feel? All right, I want to hear from you. Who's read the first chapter of the book? Raise your hand if you did. You haven't had your book yet, Diane? If you read the first chapter of the book. Well, let me ask you this question. What are your thoughts around what I was just saying? And not only what are your thoughts, but how could you apply this right now in your business? How could you apply this right now in your business? Terry? And then I'm going to go to Amy Gray.
Well, it's funny because on Friday where I had my closings, when you mentioned, think of something that happened during the transaction that if you give it as a gift, it will make them smile and laugh. So one of the houses that closed, someone had passed away. And the guy goes, I'm gonna have to make sure I sage this house like crazy. So in his closing gift, I had a big, huge bundle of sage for him to be able to sage the house. And he just started laughing like crazy. But it's gonna be something like that. And then for my other client, she talked about that she carries around too much negative energy. So for her closing gift, I gave her a small little crystal angel. And she immediately held on to it. She goes, this will travel with me everywhere I go. So just remembering, just by mentioning, think of something that happened during the transaction. It was amazing to see how they lit up and smiled, because it was just that one little extra piece that happened during the conversation that they forgot about, and all of a sudden got reminded.
I
So
love
it's
that.
awesome.
I love that. And so how could you plus that with those two clients so that you follow up with them in that same avenue, that same kind of experience with them over the next year? How would you plus that?
Well, follow up with them and see how that positive energy is coming along, and maybe add to it.
Exactly. So if you came back and you leveraged the resources that you had to plus that so that you follow up with them every 90 or 120 days and you reference back to that, how implanted are you going to be in their brain as an inspiration so that they talk about you going further and actually refer you business out, right? If you help people get what they want, then you what? You get what you want, guys. You get what you want. Amy Gray, want to hear from you.
I found it really fascinating what you were saying about finding the 20 people in my database, because I was really concerned. Being new, I haven't even had a listing yet. So I'm like, how am I going to drum up a listing when experienced agents are having a hard time drumming up a listing? So I'm going to tap into my top 20 for sure. I have some really good rapport with people from the restaurant business, because that was our thing at Outback, was you plus one. Everything you do for somebody plus one. So I kind of want to carry the plus one service into my business. So that's what you gave me a roadmap. Thank you.
You're welcome. Here's the thing, guys. This business should be fun. We get so locked down into the pieces of the business that don't surprise and delight us that we forget sometimes that we are in a business to give someone and help someone get something they want really, really badly. And they put all of these roadblocks up as to why they can't have it. Oh, it's too expensive. Oh, I don't know where I would go if I sold my house. Oh, I don't know if I can afford the next thing. Oh, I don't know if now's the right time. Oh, maybe I'll wait. They're putting up all of these roadblocks in front of them. And yet you have the power to remove all of that for them. So when you use your power and you remove all of that for them so that they can get what they want, and then I'm guilty of this too. When I was selling real estate, then we close the deal and we let them go off into the night. And then we're surprised 5 years later when they've used another agent to sell their home. Right? So who are your 20? If you did nothing else this week, but write down who your 20 are, and you created a plan to surprise and delight those people over the next 12 months, what would your business look like in the next 12 months? See, this is the hard part, guys. We want the business right now. And we don't want to, we're leery to fall in love with the process. I'm that way. I'm so impatient. The process kills me. I mean, it kills me. It's like nails on a chalkboard kills me, right? I just want to call you up and I just want you to say yes. And I want to convince you why you should say yes. And I'm going to show up your house and I'm going to just do my thing. But guess what? Instead of spending 2 hours lead generating, now I'm spending 5. I'm spending 5 hours to get what I used to spend 2 hours to get. So there's got to be a different way, a way that's more fun and a way that's more memorable and a way that you are coming from contribution to help someone. And that's why I wanted to get back to this book. Because guys, if you start now and you just did it for 6 months, where would you be in the next 6 months? Who would be showing up for you in the next 6 months to give you a listing, to give you a listing lead? You are a connector. When someone says, I don't want to sell because I don't know where I go, take it from Nico. It's not going to get any better or easier. He said it. the prices are what they are. They're probably not going backwards. As we get into more balanced market, will there be more negotiation opportunity? Possibly. But if you're going to thrive and grow your business in the next 12 months with working smarter, not harder, which means working in listings, not so many buyers, then you must get really, really good at removing obstacles and making connections, and build that foundation of those 20 people that love you, like you, trust you, that you have inspired. Okay, guys, if you would get this book, it's so good. We're going to go into the next chapter, but the first one is decide what you want. So your homework is to decide what you want. Find your top 20 and what are you going to do to inspire them? What are you going to create? What's your vision of perfection centered on the customer? What is your vision of perfection centered on the customer? And download Don't Hurt Me, or Can't Hurt Me, excuse me, because we're going to be starting that on Monday. Love you guys. Have an amazing week. It's the first week of May. It's awesome. It's awesome. We're heading into summer. Let's go. Let's go. Talk to you soon. Bye.